Hello and welcome back to the final WEC Icons of the 2025 season. And we're finishing up with this, the McLaren LMGT3 EVO. Unmistakably a McLaren in that gorgeous Papaya livery, but there's plenty more for us to find out about. We've got two very different perspectives coming into this episode with two members of the team to explain it to us. So let's dive right into it. Richard, welcome to WEC Icons. Thank you so much for joining us today. And first things first, could you please introduce yourself for me and tell me what you do for a living?
I'm Richard Dean, co-owner of United Autosports. We run the McLaren LMGT3 cars in the World Endurance Championship. And here we are in Bahrain.
Now, this car, absolute beauty. It's been a pleasure having it in the WEC, but I wonder, can you do the baseline introduction for me? What is this beautiful piece of machinery?
So, official title, McLaren GT3 EVO. The EVO was introduced in 2023 and first appeared here racing in the World Endurance Championship in 2024.
What engine does it have?
So this it's a V8, 4 litre. I think its official title is the M840T.
And of course, regulation dictates power, but what could this car produce if we put the regulations aside?
So the engine comes out of derived from the road car, the 750S road car. So in that format, in the road car, it produce up around 750 brake horsepower.
And what gearbox? What gearbox have we got going on in here?
This is paddle shift mechanical gearbox with 6 speeds.
And to tick off our quick fire set of questions, what is the weight of the car, obviously outside of regulations?
1,250 kilos. Regulations in this championship is 1,300 kilos. That can vary a little bit depending on the success. So this car won in Austin, Texas, and then had to carry some success ballast. But weight of the car, 1,250 kilos. And
just from your perspective, what is it about this car that you think makes it look like a McLaren?
Well, I mean, first of all, the colour.
Dead giveaway, right?
Very, very distinct carryover from the road car. Very, very close to the road car, but I think it's undeniably a McLaren shape and a McLaren look of one of the McLaren supercars.
It's just a beautiful piece of machinery. What is your favourite element of this car?
If I was sat in it, the accelerator pedal. The excitement that brings never fails to put a smile on your face.
That's a perfect answer. Well, thank you, Richard. And then to get a little bit more of a driver's perspective on this car, we're going to bring in James Cottingham. James, welcome to WEC Icons. Thank you for joining us as well. And Richard's given us a little bit of an overview of this car, but we wanted to bring you in and get a driver's perspective as someone who knows this piece of machinery very, very well. So I wonder if you could introduce yourself for us, please, and tell us a little bit about your history with this car.
So my name's James Cottingham. I'm the bronze driver in the 59 car, have been for this season and last season. I came to McLaren at the beginning of last year, and it's been a fantastic experience so far.
Well, to pick up where Richard left off, I wanted to start off by talking a little bit about some of the aero bodywork on this car, because it is incredibly distinctive. Can you talk me through perhaps some of the front aero? Because I don't want to just say there's a really large hole in the front of it, but like there is, and I would love to know why.
Yeah. So the hole in the front is for the cooling. So that's the air comes in the front and then it goes out through the top. The aero on the front of the car is fixed. So we've got this big front splitter and these dive planes. And then you've got the aero at the back, which is tuned in balance with the frontal aero so that you have the same amount front and rear, so to speak, although the rear is adjustable depending on circuit and setup.
How important is it from a driver's perspective to have that completely in tune and just where you guys need it?
It's all about a balance, so we can change the rake of the car as well, but because the front is fixed and the rear is adjustable, circuit to circuit we will adjust the rake and the rear balance so that we can have the right amount of understeer and oversteer. So ideally we have neither, but often we're chasing ourselves and we've got a bit of understeer at one circuit or some oversteer at another, so the adjustments are made to make those work together in tune so that we get the right balance.
And from your perspective, what are some of the design elements on this car that make it look like a McLaren?
I think obviously the shape. You know, when you look at all of the cars on the grid, this is definitely the best looking car and it's the most racy looking car from a design point of view.
You might be biased there, James.
Well, maybe, but thinking about my day job, not necessarily, but I do think it is the best looking car on the grid and it looks like a race car. So, you know, I think it comes down to that narrow cockpit. It's very sort of like in terms of the road supercars and hypercars, which have these narrow cockpits for high top speed, I think the McLaren has that look that the other cars lack.
You mentioned your day job just then. What is your day job?
I buy and sell historic cars. We have a family business that does restoration, storage, and selling mainly the very expensive cars.
So you're not just a racing driver, you're also a big car guy.
Yes, I am teaching what I preach, or preaching what I teach, something like that.
Can you tell me a little bit then about what road car this LMGT3 car is based on?
So this is based on the 720S and its successor, the 750S, which is a unique car on the grid because it's the only carbon fibre tubbed car in the LMGT3 category.
And the livery, of course. Can you talk us through the livery you have on this car?
So the livery was designed by a fantastic visionary, Richard Dean, and it's absolutely it's a hark to the heritage of McLaren, which Papaya orange and the black and orange. There's a link back to the 1995 Le Mans winning McLaren F1 with the matte black, and then the orange, it's the Papaya orange, which is the signature colour of McLaren.
Even got your matching trainers on just to
Absolutely.
blend it all in
just
together.
For today.
Especially for us, thanks James. Let's talk about some of the inner workings of this car. I'd love to initially start with the brakes. What brakes have you got in this car? What are they made of?
So that's one of the significant differences between the road car. Actually, the road car would have a ceramic braking system, whereas we have to run steel brakes. But this now being LMGT3, we have ABS and we have variable ABS controls at our fingertips. So that brings me to the steering wheel. So on the steering wheel, we have control of the radio, we can control the full course yellow speeds, pit lane speeds, but also we have control of 2 settings of traction control and then one knob for ABS with something like 12 or 13 different settings for ABS, which I tend to just wait for people to tell me what to turn it to rather than work it out for myself.
Well, how about we actually pop round to the inside of the car and take a look in the cockpit?
So another big difference between this car and most of the other cars on the grid is that we have these dihedral doors, very race car. Immediately you can see the roll cage, which is added into the carbon fibre tub to make it safety in case of an accident, which is sort of all-encompassing and makes the driver really safe. Our pedal box is adjustable, so when you get in the car you can pull a lever and move the pedals away and towards you. The steering column the same, so you can drop a lever and move it up and down, in and out. And everything's just designed so that it's for the driver, so that everything is really sort of at your fingertips, so to speak, and you can see everything really easily. So on the dash we've got different things that we can go through on the steering wheel, so that we can go through different menus and see temperatures and pressures and different stats to do with our energy usage and fuel usage and things like that. So it's very, very driver focused and everything is within reach of the driver.
Well, this feels like an obvious question, but what are some of the differences from what we're looking at right now to its road-going sister?
Well, I mean, reading the information that McLaren gave me this morning, pretty much the only thing is that there's no cup holder.
Ah, that's inconvenient.
Yeah.
And can you talk me through that centre console? Because yours is actually incredibly clear to understand compared to some others.
Yeah, so in the centre console, instead of having, in the road car where you'd have your radio and your AC and things like that.
No Radio 2 in this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Not today.
I needed it at Le Mans last year. That was such a long safety car. But you have all of the buttons which control sort of on-off things like lights, rain light. If you have a high pressure fuel pump failure, you can switch to a spare one. You've got brake bias adjustment, and the most important one, the aircon. Because we do have aircon in the McLaren.
I was going to ask, did you have AC or do you guys use
do have aircon.
cooling air coming in?
Which is new for this year, but it makes such a big difference because it's all about keeping your driver in the best sort of environment possible so they can give it their most.
Hey, that'd be a way to win me over, I can understand. Would you mind pulling the steering wheel out for us so we can take a look at that? James, how about you talk me through the steering wheel and what we're looking at here?
So we've got all of our buttons on either side, which I mentioned earlier. So you've got your start button, windscreen wipers, brightness of the screen. This is the button we press when we come into the pits, so that automatically holds the car at the pit lane speed limit. Flash your lights if you're trying to get past someone. Full course yellow on the left-hand side here, so that's the same as the pit lane speed limit, but this is 80 versus 60 kilometers an hour, that is. Radio, so you push and talk. Drink, so you give yourself some water if you're thirsty. And then your indicators left and right. And then in the middle here, we have map, which is to do with engine mapping. So if we've got some problems with the car, we can reduce the power by turning the map down. Slip and gain, these are our traction control settings. So slip, traction and gain. So those, are various combinations we can do for those. And then finally the ABS, which, as I said, I think it's about...
Yeah, it's very complicated.
Yeah, it is 12 settings. So,
crikey.
Yeah.
How many times a lap are you going to be adjusting things on this?
Not so much during a lap, but during a stint, you'll be changing things as the tyre life, or as the tyre moves through its life, you'll be adjusting these. So if you're getting a little bit of like understeer, you might play with the ABS a little bit more. If in the braking zone you're going into the ABS too much, you'll change that. And then rear end traction, as the rear tyres go off and you've got less traction, you might increase the traction control. So on a newer tyre, basically you have less traction control, less ABS, and then on an older tyre the other way.
Anything on the back that we should look at?
Just the gears, so up and down, which also someone taught me a couple of years ago that you can actually do it from the other side as well. So if I wanted to go up and down on one side, I could do it.
I like that, that's a fun tidbit. You guys have got some quite special doors on this car. That's quite unusual, isn't it, to have ones like this?
Yeah, so we've got these dihedral doors, which are really, they hark back to the McLaren F1, and I think when they started the road car division, they were like, let's take that really cool feature
cool, right?
and put them back into the new cars. So that's carried over to the race car, and I think it's probably unique on the grid in terms of all of the other LMGT3 cars. The doors open like a normal saloon car, but this is very much race car, just like the McLaren.
Does it make it more challenging when it comes to driver changes and things?
I think actually it makes it a little bit easier because you know, we have a helper who helps us strap in and things like that. So because the top's open, they can get over the top. So if like a belt has gone behind your right-hand shoulder, they can literally reach in and get over. So I think from a race car point of view, it's much more efficient. There's more visibility for the guys helping you get in. And Darren, the bronze in the other car, is a big guy. He says it's much easier to get into than the BMW. So there we go.
If nothing else, it just looks really cool.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. The McLaren does in general, though. I think it's the best looking car on the grid.
I'll say it again, I think you're biased, James. Let's shut the door and come back round the front. So James, you're someone that knows the road going operation particularly well through your day job, but also the racing element through what you do here on track with United. So can you talk to me a little bit about that race to road relationship? How do the two work together?
Well, McLaren is almost a unique situation whereby it's been a Formula One team for 60 years or so, and it's the only manufacturer to have won the Triple Crown, which is an incredible achievement. McLaren as a race team decided to build a road car in the 90s, the F1, which is alongside a couple of others is the ultimate GOAT, if you like, the greatest of all time road car. And then a few years later they said, let's build the road car division, which is how we end up with this car, which has since gone racing, but very much built with racing DNA in its mind. And it's very much, McLaren was a racing manufacturer that has then built road cars, which is very different, and unusual for most manufacturers. So that's, that gives the McLaren something that's a bit different in terms of the DNA is very much racing inspired as opposed to road car then to racing.
No, I see it and I love it. And finally, as always, my favourite question. I'll be curious how your answer differs to Richard's. What's your favourite part of this car?
So there are two things I love about the car.
Ooh, okay.
Equally. I love the narrow cockpit. So instead of being a full width windscreen, it's very narrow, very streamlined, very aerodynamic, which again comes back to that racing DNA of McLaren. And it's the headlights as well. I love the fact that the headlights incorporate air ducts, and so that it looks like a bigger headlight, but actually they're hidden in there, and it's a functional headlight at the same time. That's
a very good thing to point out. And James, thank you so much for joining us on WEC Icons.
Pleasure.
And that is it from us for the 2025 episodes of WEC Icons. Thank you so much for watching along, and thank you to all of our teams for getting involved. It's been a real privilege to learn even more about these beautiful race cars. And don't forget, there may well be a bonus episode coming very, very soon, so keep an eye out for that.